Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive Haunts. Tonight we are talking about Billie Creek. Um, that is going to be quite a bit to get into. First of all, I'm going to tell you Beyond Life Paranormal Research in Missouri, Mr. Russell is going to be our guest on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Wicked
Cool.
Ghost Hunters is our guest on Wednesday, the 20th at 7 p.m. Hello out there. We have a guest appearance on Empress Sparkle, which is a podcast out of the UK. So that we have that on Wednesday as well at 2 p.m. As soon as we have access to that podcast, we will share it out. And if you guys haven't seen, I posted out there today. We hit Ian Hideous Ghost Stories out of the UK. That aired last night. So he promoted it out today, and I did get that out there and shared it out.
Well,
Mr. Tim was the guy that read our story.
I try to do a good job.
Yes, thank you so much for that. There are a couple other teams, there's another team and another lady that did ghost stories as well on that one. So make sure you guys are listening to all three of those. I do know the other one is Ghost Hunting with Delta. So, you guys can listen to her ghost story. And then definitely give them a follow if you're not already. Anyway, Tanya's had a busy day out enjoying the weather, so she is on her way home. She may not do a lot of talking at the moment, but anyway, you guys jump in on the comments, say hello. I did try to change up some things. I'm trying to change up our intros and outros for the different podcasts that we got going on. So then you guys can differentiate which podcast is which. And it's not all the same thing. But anyway, welcome in. We are going to get started. So April 23rd, we went to Billie Creek, Haunted Billie Creek Village. We did a 2-day, 2 investigation back-to-back deal. So tonight we're going to talk about our experience to Billie Creek. It was Tim and I's second time out there. The first time we just did like a self-guided tour. We did a little bit of investigating, not a lot. And so I do have that, Tim. So when your computer dies, I'll pop you in on the other one.
Yep, no problem.
He forgot his cord. So he might go.
I'm old. Please.
Hey, Jenny, welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, hello. Are you doing Penhurst this weekend, or are you doing OSR? What Paracon are you at? Because I know there's several going on this weekend. While we're waiting for her to say that, anyway. So it was Tanya and Misty's first time out at Billie Creek. I am going to let Misty go ahead and talk about her feelings about when we first got out there. Jenny is at Ohio State Reformatory. Yeah. So cool. Thank you for joining us from out there.
The first time we started coming out over the bridge and everything, it was a very peaceful kind of feeling when we came out. Then again, it's really kind of active because it's open to the public to come out and people go and walk around everywhere. So it's just picking up feelings of everybody around, just kind of curious about everything going on. So there was no initial, anything that struck out to me that was overly unusual. Just going through the places one at a time. You picked up stuff kind of going through each individual places that was a little bit different. And again, that we'll go through when we go through each of those places. So that was my initial feeling going through.
Did you find it to be a awesome location with the setup and all, or?
Oh, I loved it. It was actually just perfect for anybody to kind of just go through and look at how some buildings were actually designed back then because I mean a lot of those places are really really well kept up and they put a lot of their time and volunteer work in keeping those places up. So we came when they were mowing the entire acreage for camping the week after, and the people they were so friendly, got off the mower, took pictures of us at the bridge. So very friendly people. There's a very, very awesome craft person there who does art, and she does engravings and special art that was actually featured on Doctor Who. Uh, was that Amy?
Annie.
My
And
Annie.
Annie?
Yeah.
Annie. She was awesome. Perfect person to go to if you go there, go straight to her booth. She pretty much will tell you anything about the property and kind of sort you out, and you always want to go and look at her art. It's awesome. Um, but the different shops are really neat. And it's very open. I mean, it's basically go inside and you can look at the gift shop. There might not be anybody there. They go on a honor system. So if you get something, you got to go to the general store, or is it the general store to the bakery?
Yeah, to the
I think
cafe.
it's the bakery,
Right.
the cafe, and you pay there. But I mean, it's just very hi.
my
It's just
granddaughter Isla.
she's cute. um,
Say hi.
it's a very nice setup, and people are very friendly. So it's awesome for anybody to get around, go and look at.
People, okay? All right. Go play.
Hi, Isla. Tim is spending the weekend with grandchildren.
Yeah.
Well, I think we might come back to Tanya. She looks like she's concentrating hard on driving. Oh no, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just listening.
What
Picking
was
up.
your first overall impression? Tim's got the dog.
Yeah. I got a whole bunch of people with me, so I'm back there. No problem. So going to Billy Creek for the second time. The first time was pretty awesome. I mean, spending the time there with Brenda and I did a real quick tour of Billy Creek, and we found out later on that Indiana State was just 2 miles down the road. So we decided to go to Indiana State as well. But get back to Billy Creek. Imagine taking buildings from around the county and putting them in one place and creating a village that is open to the public for people to come in and walk around and look at these buildings from the history. It's really, really cool. It really is, as far as that goes. What they didn't know when they put these buildings here, they brought the paranormal with them. That's one thing they didn't experience or didn't realize was going to happen. So when we think about buildings being haunted or buildings having an entity in them or a spirit, think about that. It came with it. It came with the building. So that's really a cool thing. And one of them's a schoolhouse. And if you think about a schoolhouse full of kids, it's 2026. Why is there a schoolhouse full of kids? So those are things that we try to investigate and look at and try to get there. My feeling of the place was a calm, serene village that just existed from the people trying to put this together. And it's like Misty said, you get this impression of just being in a place that's inviting and go walk in and take a look around. You had no idea. But our investigation revealed just a little bit more than just this nice setting that was out there. We'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Hello, Dave.
Can you turn that down, please? Thank
Yes,
you.
Jenny says she loves Billy Creek, and we do too. We do too. And she loves the Baptist church. The churches out there are they're definitely interesting, to say the least. Tanya?
Yep, I'm in. It was a really neat place. If you like history, you like the Civil War era, or just basically history, I loved it because everything was so close to being accurate for the time era that it was from. There were a couple buildings that gave me really creepy vibes, but most of them were okay. The school was really active, in my opinion, from when I walked in. I started hearing voices. The Civil War house was really crazy. The general store, believe it or not, was also I could feel activity in there. But yeah, I loved it because of how it's set up. They did an amazing job with the restoration of all the everything. It was really neat. I would love to go back, spend more time there eventually. But yeah, it was a really neat place to visit. Even if you're a paranormal investigator, it's worth going and walking around and taking a look at the history of it.
Yeah, we actually have a similar little thing in Des Moines. It's called Living History Farms. It's got a bunch of old buildings, and it's just like being back in the 1800s or whatever. Lots of schools go there and everything, and you learn how to churn butter and make lard soap and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't do investigations there. Okay. So where do we want to start out first? I guess first we were trying to figure out where we were being called to. And Tim and Misty went to the Catholic Church, and then Tanya and I went to the log cabin because that's where we were getting called to. So I'm going to let you guys talk about your experiences in the Catholic Church, and then Tanya and I will talk about the log cabin.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Misty.
Well, earlier in the day, we kind of did a walkthrough anyways. And when we went in there originally, I didn't go all the way up to the front at all. I just felt like I didn't want to go past a certain point, and I sat down in a pew and just let you guys go up there. And I kept watching because I'm a watcher. I like to see what's going on to see if there's anything hidden the side of the building, if there what a person would normally hear just sitting in that spot anyways, and just kind of go from there to see if it can be debunked that way. So I'm sitting there just kind of looking, and I kept thinking I was seeing some kind of I would say a vapor thing above the altar, and Tanya was up there at the time. Well, of course, when Tim went up there, it like kind of disappeared and went away. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. I kept it to myself. And then we went through an actual like tour of the building later on with Annie. And at that point, she said she couldn't go past a certain point for the longest time. I think it was the orange window, which is halfway to the altar. And she said that it was something about it. She just never realized she had never gone past it. And I was making the connection about how I didn't go past it either time. Well, that night when we went in, I went all the way up to the altar. And I was like, I'll put my stuff up there and see what I get. And I still have to go through all the audio because there's a lot of audio that we got from that place. But I remember sitting it up there and going and sitting back down. And for some reason, the whole place just kind of got, I don't know, dense but quiet. The best way is like you're waiting for something to happen, but it just never does happen. And we're sitting there, and I don't know what it was. It was just like everything that was there vacated. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but it was like it didn't want to talk to us. It didn't want to interact with us. but we sat behind that orange window when we were waiting for that. So I'm curious what we actually caught, if anything, on audio.
True.
What do you think?
Very true. It was an interesting time in there because I didn't really get much feeling of being inside the church. Misty
Right.
was seeing things, step up on it. We're up talking about the altar area, and that's one of the focus of our focus point. But I
Mm-hmm.
kept hearing voices outside. So I got up and walked to the back of the church and went out the door because I thought I could hear Brenda and Tanya talking in the log cabin. I went
Right.
outside looking for a voice and I couldn't find anything. I literally stood there on the porch outside the church doors trying to find this sound and people talking that I could hear. And I could not find them anywhere. I could not see. I could hear a voice over to my right, and there's the log cabin and the covered bridge over that way. And I could hear voices over there, but we know no one was there because we had Annie watching the entrance to the place, knowing if someone was going to be there. So I could not determine. I came back into the church thinking, okay, I heard these voices, but they're trying to get me out of the church in order for something to happen. So that was an interesting thing because I could hear the voices. I could hear them outside like someone was literally talking outside the building. And there's more to that later on that we'll talk about on other places. But so I don't know how much interaction we got on our audio, but a visual sense, when I left the church, Misty seemed to see things happen. When I came back in the church, they quit. I don't know what my presence being there caused this entity or spirit to stop moving or not want to be there. I really don't know how that affected it. So as far as that goes, but we did get some interesting stuff. I mean, personal experiences, hearing voices, seeing stuff, density in the church, like Misty said, and it's something trying to contact us. I'm hoping on our audio that we really caught something really cool. I really do. I
Yeah.
hope it's there.
Cool.
So, on to Brenda and Tanya in the log cabin.
We went into the log cabin. We sat there. Um, I don't know if any of y'all have been there, but there's like two quilting loom rug weaving things. And I was sitting back by that, and Tanya was sitting off to my left on the other side of the table. And while we were in there, we got a few bangs. Our dead bell went off one time. We heard talking. I actually heard talking. Tanya heard a low hum. Um, I got a bad toothache that came out of nowhere. It felt like something was being shoved up into my gum. Um, and that lasted quite a while. Um, I'll let Tanya talk about what she was experiencing, but I do have some EVPs to play. Listen with headphones because they ain't going to be loud. But I do have a few EVPs out of the old log cabin that we did catch.
Just made it home. Cabin was cozy. It was comfortable. It didn't feel awkward. It didn't feel anything. But there were a lot of questions about what the lights were that were on. So Brenda and I had to explain the lighting and the electricity and our phones and our devices. And we had to do that a couple times while we were there in different buildings and stuff. But overall, the cabin was just cozy, comfortable feeling, except for Brenda's major toothache. I wasn't getting any voices in my head. I wasn't getting any feedback or anything. I had a dream, like a flash in my dream about a trunk and a rocking chair, and they were both in the cabin, which is why I needed to go to the cabin. But yeah, it was just really cozy.
You
But
also
all the
were,
questions about modern technology.
you also were getting touched too. They kept touching your head.
Yeah, I had a spider in my hair is what it felt like.
Hmm.
even though there wasn't anything there, nothing. But yeah, like for the most part, yeah, it was very calm and quiet. Almost every location we went into was asking what our devices were. Um,
Yeah.
all of that as we
But it
go.
wasn't anything aggressive.
You're
Right.
getting out, Tanya.
That what's it for? Well, I'm in bad reception.
Hmm.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
No, no.
While she is doing that, um, I am gonna. I have four different ones out of the cabin.
Thank you. Thank you.
So after you hear Dong, you hear me say thank you. Tanya says something, and then there's a couple little um, male responses. I don't even remember what I have there. This one.
We're going to have to go soon. Can you?
So we're gonna have to go, and you can hear no.
We're going to have to go soon. Can you?
Oh yeah.
And then
It's male sounding too.
yep. So yeah, all of the responses were male. I think Tanya asked if there was a boy. I think that's
Is there a boy and a girl here?
how I would think.
Is there a boy and a girl here?
Mhm.
So is there a boy and a
There
And is
definitely
that a no as well?
I thought it was yes, but it might be. I don't know. You guys tell
Is
us.
there a
It
boy
is
and a
hard.
girl
Yes.
here?
sounds like no. You think it's yes?
I don't remember. I
It
did
could be
these.
either.
I did these like a month ago. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, those are just thumps and bangs. I didn't need to put that in there. My bad. Um, so yeah, so those were some that we got. They were um, whispery. Again, if you guys were having trouble with those, listen with your earphones because it is a lot clearer and they're a lot more pronounced. I will have more as the night goes on and we get to the different parts that we did investigate in. So,
I'm gonna have to switch over to. I'm gonna have to switch over to my phone. So
Okay.
oh my god, sorry.
yeah, no problem.
Heck.
No problem.
All right, now he's here. Hey, sorry about that, guys. Hey, Erica.
Am I in?
Yeah, you're in. Prop it up on your laptop so we can see you because we see the ceiling. I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, all right. Well, so yeah. After that, we kind of met up. Tanya and I went into the school and we sent Misty and Tim into the cabin. So, what did you guys experience in the cabin?
Mm. To be honest, I don't remember much being in the cabin, but Tim might remember more than I do.
Prop your phone back to against your tablet screen. and then we'll be able to see you good.
I'll be right back. I'm getting off my phone onto my laptop.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Live, you gotta love it, right? Live, everybody just does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
That's how it is. Tim, are you good?
I don't know if he can hear us.
Are you good, Tim? I don't know. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm not sure what's going on. It kind of looks like he froze.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm not quite sure what is going on with Mr. Timothy over there. No. Sorry, that's not his name. It's Tim. My bad. Because it really isn't his name. Honest to God, it is not his government name. But I'm not sure what happened to him. But we will
Persevere. He's coming back.
No, I'm bringing him back. Maybe. Oh no, I don't think he's. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, live TV, live podcast. That's what happens. That's what happens. Okay, so Misty is not remembering a lot of the cabin, and Tim is MIA for the moment. So Tanya and I will talk about being in the schoolhouse.
Yeah.
It was actually a good experience for us. I'm going to let her take off with what, um, like everything that was going on, and I will jump in every now and again.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
Girl.
I know, right?
He said, oh, shoot. I kicked him too far. Dang it. Come back, Tim. Oh, well. Okay. So here, I was trying to let other people talk, but Tim, come back. Accidentally, when I booted the one, it booted both. So I'm so sorry. My bad.
Bye, Tim.
He's getting his sound set up. Sounds like a plan. Anyway, so we're in there, and Tanya has medium capabilities, so she can hear them. They can talk to her. They can tell her things, and she relays on what is happening and going on and everything. So I am asking questions, kind of doing like EVPs, kind of like an EVP session, like we're recording at the time. But I'm asking questions, trying to get answers in real time. And I remember her saying, I had asked how many children were present. And she told me there was 15. So there was 15 students there, and they were all hesitant about their new teacher they were getting, because they were supposed to be getting a new teacher, and they were hesitant. And I don't even remember what her name was, Miss Walter, Miss something. Tanya looks like she's about ready to sleep. Do you remember now?
My mouth hurts.
So anyway,
So
okay, this podcast is going to hell in a handbasket. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I am just kidding. But anyway,
grab some liquor.
Right?
Yeah.
So I started asking, I said, is there anybody here that wants to talk? And there was a young man that came through. He was 15. And right now, my mind is drawn a blank to his name.
I can't remember
But
his name. I had so many names.
He was saying that he was learning. I said, what are you learning in school? And he said, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I said, do you like arithmetic? And he said, no. And I said, what is your favorite thing to do? And he said, reading. So I asked him what book he was reading, and she responded, Bible. And I said, well, what book in the Bible is your favorite? And he said, Job, right? I think it was Job. Yeah, Job. And I asked him if he had any siblings, and he said he had a little sister, and she was sick. And I said, is the doctor still coming around? And he said no. And then he told us he had to go because he had to go. Or I asked him I did ask if he wanted to be a preacher when he grew up, and he said no, he wasn't going to be allowed to. He had to continue working in the field. So that was kind of a sad thing. And then we talked to a little girl who was 11. She was the oldest of 6 siblings, 6 including her. She loved to read magical and mystical books, and her youngest sibling was under a year. Welcome back, Tim. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Technology is great when it works. Other than that, who needs it?
Right, for sure, for sure. If you actually want to like prop your camera up against your laptop,
I know. I'm trying to figure out. I want to look cool.
Here we go.
I got it plugged in, so we'll do it this way. That's
okay.
all right.
Then that way we're not looking like up your nose or whatever.
Something wrong with that?
No, but they may not like
I was
it.
going to say that, but I didn't.
At least I'm not looking down my nose. So.
Right. So anyway, we talked to her for a little bit, and then there was another guy that came in, and he was 24, and he was getting ready to go to war. He had a wife, and he kept grunting. Yeah, he kept grunting. That was his response. He was like,
Like,
you know.
I remember that. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember saying something about I feel like a caveman because his answer is
Yeah. So I also ran a portal box. I don't have those marked, but I also ran a portal box session. It's on our video, so if you haven't watched the video, go out to YouTube and watch it. But that session is on there, and we kept getting this female that kept coming through. She came through like 4 or 5 times, and she was always saying something, but I could never understand what she was saying. So again, it is in our video that's out on YouTube. So if you guys go watch it and you know what she is saying, please let us know in the comments. We would be most appreciative. But it was the same voice, and like I said, it came through 5 or 6 times, 4, 5, 6 times, and it was randomly after questions were asked. Another fun fact about in the school, I heard a male talking out the window. I was sitting at the desk in the front, and Tanya was sitting in one of the students' desks facing me. We had cat balls, REM pods, we had everything set up everywhere. I had a couple of K2 spikes, and then I think the dead bell dinged once, and that was about it. But out to the left, so I turned to look out the windows thinking I was going to see Tim and Misty because I heard a male voice, and I was like, oh, those guys must be done. Well, I kept watching out the windows, and there was no Tim and Misty walking by, no other talking, no nothing. And that isn't captured on any of our cameras or recordings or nothing, which was really weird. So again, it's the thing of no matter where you're at. We were sitting at picnic tables out there. Again, we're the only ones out there. We could hear people talking. Where that was coming from, we don't know. We're not saying it was paranormal. We're not saying it wasn't paranormal. We just couldn't debunk or decipher where the talking was coming from, and we were the only ones out there. So if anybody has experienced anything like that, when they've been investigating out there, please let us know, because um, it's definitely um, it's definitely a crazy vibe just to hear random people talking. Um, Hello.
Yeah, never mind. Keep going.
Do you want to? That I mean, that in a nutshell was about it for us in the school. It was very interesting to know once we got back over to the general store to meet up with Tim and Misty, um, that they had been over there a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes prior to me actually hearing the male voice. So we deciphered it was not them. Um, but anyway, so what did you guys in the cabin when you guys were in there?
Go
Tim,
ahead, miss. Go ahead. You want
I,
me to
I
talk?
already told him I can't remember much of what happened in the
Oh.
cabin.
The cabin was actually like Tanya said earlier, pretty quiet, pretty comfortable being in there. I mean, not like a lot of activity going on. We did get the bell to ring once, but then I felt a cool air like blow across my leg. And I did that, and I tried to debunk what it was to see if there was air coming in around the door that was behind me to see if it was. But it was a pretty still night, pretty calm. But then we got a cold feeling area over by that window and door where I was at. We tried debunking
Yeah, I
it. We
remember
couldn't
that.
we couldn't figure out where the cold was coming from because it wasn't coming from outside. I mean, we were in shorts and t-shirts. It was not coming from outside. So we did get a cool breeze through that cabin, as far as that goes. And again, we need a lot of audio to figure out if we actually caught something in there as far
Yeah,
as it goes. But it was actually like serene and calm, like you felt being invited into the cabin. You didn't really feel a presence of being not wanted, so to speak. So I think a lot of those places are inviting in that place as far as that goes. And we did get that in quite a few places, but there was more happened in other buildings. So we'll
Yeah,
go on.
we we had went
The
to
cabin was so comfortable. I decided not to sit down.
Correct.
hmm
Correct.
yeah, it was very comforting. Um, we did go into the Baptist church, and during the day, and when we were in there, we all experienced instant headaches. Um, I don't even like instant headaches was like it was crazy, to the point where we actually had to leave. So we didn't actually go back in and investigate in the church, just because every time we stepped into the Baptist church, it was instant headaches, and none of us were feeling too good after that. So we kind of
yeah,
like decided to not um, go
linger in there.
go that route. Yeah. Oh, I guess before I even jacked that up, because before we even went to the cabin in the Catholic Church, we did go over to the Civil War house. We did two different rounds at Civil War. Um, we'll do the first time that we went over there, and then we'll do the governor's house, and then we'll go back to Civil War. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
Okay. So when we first went over to the Civil War, the farmhouse, whatever you guys want to call it, um, go in, and we're walking through the whole house. We go upstairs, we're downstairs, taking random pictures, looking at um, cabinets and drawers and stuff like that. because if you don't know a lot about out there because you haven't investigated, things are said to open on their own. So we wanted to make sure that we took pictures of, like I said, cabinets, wardrobes, dressers, all that stuff. We took pictures of the drawers exactly, everything exactly how it was. So then we knew if we came back and was, seemed like it was different, we was able to um, debunk it. We could be like, oh, we have this picture. It was definitely closed, but now it's open, type of thing. Um, Tim, go ahead and talk about when we got there.
About, just walking around the property and see what it was like.
Yeah,
So
well,
we,
go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
okay, we did walk around. There's actually a tombstone out front by a big pine tree, which actually shows the tombstone is the name of some of the people I think that were there on the property or with the house, I should say, as far as that goes. The house really, you get a feeling that something's upstairs looking at you out of the windows in the upstairs part of it, no matter which window you're at. You kind of get that feeling. But we were in there walking around taking pictures and everything, and we were trying to do getting ready to do an EVP session, or we already had, if I remember right. I went outside and I could hear something move inside the house, and I thought, what was that noise? Like something that got slid across the floor, like furniture or something, or a bang. So we went inside to try to debunk what we had heard to see if we could figure out what it was. When we went into the house, I thought it was in the front of the house in the living room. We went in the living room, didn't find anything. We went into the bedroom and found two drawers on a stand. Well, not really a stand, I guess I should say. It's a big, huge dressing. It's got clothes, keeps drawers in the bottom. We found two drawers open in the bottom of that cabinet, which was not what we were expecting. So we closed the drawers. We took pictures of everything again, trying to figure out if that was the noise that we heard. We're not 100%, but it was something that was out of place that I did hear in the house, clear out in the front of the house. So that was interesting to learn as far as that goes. Did we do the EVP after that, or was that before?
It was before, but I
Okay.
think I think the reason why we went outside is because we were hearing things outside. So we
Okay.
went out to check, and Tim went around the front of the house. Um, Misty, Tanya, and I, we were all on the little back porch, and Tim walked around the front, and that's when he heard it. So
Mm,
then we went back in. Yeah.
yeah. So let's keep in mind too. Let's go back to a year ago when Brenda and I were out there. Well, less than a year ago. When we were in there in the middle of the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon, we kept hearing voices outside the house. We went outside the house. We walked around. We tried debunking it to no end. They got goat pens out back, but we literally heard people talking the whole time we were in that house at 2:30 in the afternoon. So hearing sounds outside, hearing sounds inside is pretty compelling compared to what this house is built during the Civil War, if I remember correctly, why they call it the Civil War house. So why are these sounds outside of this house? What keeps that active as far as that goes? Is it the stone outside, or is it just the dead are still roaming the yard and want you to know that they're there? So go ahead.
Yeah. When we heard, it was a female that we heard, and we were upstairs at the time, and we were looking out every window, and we couldn't see anybody. I went downstairs again, looking out every window. I walked clear around the property.
Mhm.
It was only him and I. There was nobody else back there.
Mhm.
Well, when we were there this time, we heard a female voice. Again, we instantly go and we're looking. We're not finding anybody. And that was during the day. When we went back on that first round, we would hear a woman talk again. And we did an EVP session. All four of us were sitting in the living room and we did an EVP session. We heard
Yeah.
whistles that we caught on our recordings. We heard
Mhm.
whistles. We heard a female talk. Um, we heard footsteps. We heard something that I don't even know how to explain it because we thought it might have been a bird, but it wasn't a bird. Like,
Mhm.
it was crazy. Like, we were hearing all sorts of noises. Misty, I'll let you talk about um, what you were feeling when we were doing that EVP session, and then you wanting to go into Estes and that stuff.
Oh, gosh. It just felt like something was kind of trying to get our attention when we were in the room. And I think later on we really do kind of figure out what was trying to get our attention, but at the time we were really unaware of what was going on, and it was little things kind of adding up to the point where I'm like, I felt like something might come through if we tried it, the Estes, and honestly, again, I don't remember everything that I say when I go through Estes because I'm not registering it half the time. It's just kind of coming out, and you usually tell me what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly what was said during the Estes, but I know we couldn't do anything live because there was no internet out there.
Well, well, if you're up in the village itself, you have Wi-Fi, but not out
Yeah.
at the not out there. I do know that you said while you were under Estes, you felt like a woman was standing over you, like with her hands on her hips, like, you better be saying it right. You better be saying it right.
Yeah.
But you felt like she was um, sick, like
Yes.
she wasn't feeling the best. Um, Tim caught a couple of EVPs
I did.
during that session.
Yeah.
You can talk about that.
Yeah. So this first session in the living room was very, very active. We were getting a lot of noises. Misty was feeling somebody standing beside her. Tanya was feeling the presence of a lady of the house in there. We were catching movement. We could hear stuff moving in the corners. We could hear all kinds of activity in this living room.
Yeah.
And then we started hearing more noises in the bedroom, which is adjacent to the living room. I mean, we were hearing sounds. We were hearing all kinds of stuff going on in that bedroom. So we decided to, Brenda and Tanya went into that bedroom, and Misty and I stayed in the living room. And during that time, Misty kept feeling like someone was standing right behind her, literally
Yeah.
standing right here behind her, this close, with, hey, get this right, do things like Brenda was saying. So it was an
Mhm.
interesting thing. And so trying to figure out, and I got two EVPs, not 30 seconds into my audio, I had two EVPs from this when all four of us were in there. So we're getting a lot of activity going on with interaction with someone in the house who wants us either out, wants to speak with us, or they just want to tell their story. So we were trying to figure out just what it was. So we tried different methods and different things to figure out just exactly what this entity wanted us to know. And as the night progressed in that Civil War house, I think we figured out what was going on in the house. But that's the Civil War house, why it is so active, I'm not sure why it's that way and how it is, but I think
It's
there's an
very.
entity there that is their home and they want things a certain way, which we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, and also when we were getting ready to go back over to the village, you were standing in the kitchen of the doorway. Do you want to talk
Correct.
about that?
Yeah. So I just went to the kitchen first and was standing there between the dining room and the kitchen. There's a door, it's a small doorway, then a doorway that goes out back right adjacent to it. So I was standing there and I stopped and I just thought I'd stand here and stand still for a second and see if I could hear anything or see anything, just for curiosity reasons. And so imagine there's a wood stove beside me, and on the side of that's a pantry with double doors on it, and then a single door. I heard those doors rattle. I really heard like someone was trying to open those doors. And I thought, what the heck? That's pretty cool. I did have my camera on, my digital recorder, so I need to know if I caught that on there, but I did hear it. And I know it wasn't anybody else because they were clear back in the living room picking up their equipment. So I know they weren't in here. They weren't anywhere near making the floor move or the doors move. And I
Mm.
think we figured out who that was as well. So
Yep, yep, yeah. It's Very interesting. Tanya, anything else? Oh, when Tanya and I were in the bedroom, I took my dead bell in, I turned my dead bell on, and that was nonstop. And it was like, imagine something trying to be the most annoying with a dead bell ever. It was dong, 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 dong.
Mhm.
And I'm like, can you stop? You know, like if you stop, we can ask questions. You can do yes, no. And it would not. I
Right.
literally had to turn my bell off
Mhm.
because it was not stopping. Like it would stop for like 2 seconds and then it would start in again. But it was almost like, like you shouldn't be in my room or you shouldn't be in my house or whatever. Um, it was crazy. That
It
bell
was.
was ridiculous. And when we were doing the EVP sessions in the living room, we had 4K2 meters in different places.
Mhm.
3 of the 4 would peg
Correct.
to red, while one did nothing.
Mhm.
But like one would start spiking, and then another one would start spiking, and then another one would start spiking. So that was crazy. Um, Tanya, how about you?
As far as the Civil War house,
First go
the
round.
upstairs was creepy. Oh, that walkthrough, that upstairs was creepy. That doll was
Yeah.
creepy. I mean, creepy is an understatement.
Correct.
That doll needed a bath in holy water. You could just feel, yeah, douse her in holy water. That thing needed something. But you could just feel the presence when you were in the room with that
You're okay.
creepy doll. You could feel the presence punished or something. But then going back into the
I had to go
preacher's
to my
room,
phone.
going back to the preacher's room, it was, I mean, the whole upstairs just had a really odd feeling.
Yeah.
Downstairs, a little more comfortable, but you could feel a very dominant female presence through it. But yeah, we'll find out about that later. But yeah, the Civil War house is just beautiful, but there was a lot of different feelings walking through it.
Mhm.
And if you can't go upstairs, don't, because those steps
Yeah, I
those
don't.
steps are crazy wicked. But I mean, I opened attic, like little attic cubby holes and stuff, and you could just feel presence in the cubby holes, and it's like we're just going to shut that and ignore it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
but yeah,
remember when we were by
Tanya,
that
Yeah.
one.
I was gonna say Tanya's very much the person that is going to open every single door because she wants to know everything everywhere.
Exactly.
There's
I
no
don't need
no of
another
that.
oh
You
Jesus
have to
moment
have. Yeah.
There it
There's
is.
the doll. There's the
like
doll, you
the
guys. She's
yeah.
very creepy.
Oh, Tanya, and
She
you
needs an
also got to remember.
exorcism, a bath in holy water, and
You got to talk
Yeah.
about the
like everything is buffering. I didn't hear that.
Sorry, I was gonna say. You remember
My
you were
pet toad.
hearing like the bangs back on that little cubby hole. You were like asking it questions, and it was banging back to you.
Correct. Yep.
It did it a couple of times.
Oh yeah, I knock,
Mm-hmm.
I knock, you knock. Yeah, that's a very fun game.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Only I didn't expect the cubby hole to knock clear back to back cubby hole. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not going to knock anymore. So you just do what you want to do, because
We
those
went
are
into the
creepy.
other room.
I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing
Yeah.
if it's in an open room like the cubby hole at Aurora Brothel. That was different. It was well lit. This one was like spiders and creepies, and you open the door and it just
Sure.
gives you the chills. Like, nope, that's not a cubby hole. That's just we're gonna close it and ignore it. It doesn't exist.
exist.
Yeah.
Whatever's in there.
Whatever's in there.
So yeah,
it
but when
doesn't exist.
I knock. Yeah, when I knock, you knock, and I knock, and it knocked in the very back of the cubby hole. I'm like, okay, I'm done. We're not knocking anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
We'll let
So
Tim
yeah,
answer that one.
our first trip, doing our first round investigation, was very much busy. But when we come back, it gets busier. So
Yeah.
we will head on over to the governor's house. Tim and I were in the living room. Misty and Tanya were in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Tim took his dead bell and put it on the old icebox freezer thing.
Mhm.
And it was doing the same thing that my dead bell was doing in the Civil War house. It was
Mhm.
bing, bing, bing. It was very annoying.
Mhm. Yes, it
So
was. Yeah.
Misty and Tanya pretty much led the investigation when we were in there. Tim and I just kind of sat back and just let them ask the questions,
Mhm.
and let us know about anything that was coming through. Um, I don't even remember what questions were asked now. Oh,
Mhm.
we did talk to some guy that dated the governor's niece.
Yes.
Niece.
Yeah,
Niece.
yeah.
That was interesting. It's great to have a medium on your team, guys.
Mhm.
I hope y'all have one on there.
Oh,
But yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
which one of us?
Sometimes the information is way off, but most of the time it's dead on. Sometimes they don't want you to know who they are, so they
Correct.
just give you random names, which we'll get to on the 30th because Princess Diana.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was dead on as far as following with what it was at this one. But with the medium, if you have that ability and you know, they're going to give you some random name so you look like a fool
Mm-hmm.
when they know what they're telling you isn't the truth.
Hmm.
But yeah, most of the information in there with the governor's niece was fairly accurate. It's just like, it was
Correct.
just kind of odd to talk to somebody that dated her.
Mm-hmm. And he said that he was still there because he was waiting for her, but he knew she wasn't there. I don't know,
Yeah.
sounds like a cray cray to me, but go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say now, we'll reflect back here, being in the governor's mansion is really interesting because one of the things was there's a crib in there that rocks. We never did get evidence of that rocking that I know of. But one of the things that we did find out was in the church, there's a bell. But as the lady said, the donger, which is actually the clapper, is gone. So the bell can't ring. You cannot pull on the rope and ring the bell. It's tied up in a knot. So one of the claims was they hear the bell ring at random times in the middle of the night. They found out that maybe birds fly into it in the steeple that goes through the woods, right? Well, we're talking midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and 3 of us heard the bell ring. Literally went dong. So, and it wasn't our dead bell. It was like the school bell. I have not reviewed my evidence to see if we caught it. Misty or Tanya, have you guys heard that? Have you heard it yet? Have you got there?
I'll have to look. I'll
Okay.
have to look.
I
Okay.
don't have it on any of
I haven't-
mine, unfortunately.
Okay.
I haven't
So it's really
reviewed.
strange. Okay, so it's
But it was a
strange that 3
distinct
of us
dong.
hear this bell ring, but Brenda didn't hear the ring, didn't hear the bell. So
I
we're
didn't.
curious to know what we heard. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping we catch this bell ringing because we don't know of any other bell in the vicinity of Billie Creek that can cause this because we were told by our tour guide
Oh.
it didn't exist. So hopefully we caught the bell ringing. Other than that, the experience in the governor's house was very interesting because there was a lot of interaction with who the niece was, what was going on. And the kitchen was really, really active. Where Brenda and I in the front room, we didn't really catch a lot of stuff that was there. Not saying it wasn't there. We just didn't hear the sounds except for the bell and what Tanya and Mitzi were doing in the kitchen. I'm hoping that when we review evidence, number one, the bell's there, because that would be an awesome catch if it really is.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome. So the governor's mansion is an interesting place to know that why. Again, here's this village, here's this calm, serene thing. Why is there spirits there? Other than they came with the buildings themselves. So if we really think about it, maybe we ought to get together and build us a village somewhere and go get some haunted buildings and put it out here by where I live. What the hell?
That would be awesome.
Put it out in my yard.
That'd give
I
you
got an
something to
empty
do.
lot.
Yeah.
I got an empty lot. Put it out in the yard.
Right. Misty.
Yeah. Gotta say that the experience in the kitchen was pretty unique. I think as our K2 meters were going off like crazy too, like in response to some of the questions. And yes, the dead bell did go off for a long time. It finally got it to slow down and stop, and then it felt like it was answering questions after a while. Again, I have to go through a lot of my video because I sat it up on a thing, and I haven't gotten through all of the video because there's just so much from both those weekends. But just asking questions and kind of going with the flow of what's getting answered just to kind of see where it goes. We also had Spirit Talker out and was looking at that. But it felt like you were sitting in the kitchen and like actually having a conversation with somebody, which was kind of a calm experience. And then Tanya was able to kind of click into that guy that we were talking about. And I do believe that there was also a talk about somebody getting injured because of that rope and the bell, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Alistair. His name was Alistair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some interesting things that came through with that. I don't know if Tanya has any more to put in with that, with what she experienced, or again, you gotta understand that we did 2 separate investigations, so it's hard to keep it all in track for everything.
So, Misty,
Mhm.
she was rambling in the kitchen, and all of a sudden she goes, "Well, you can touch me if you want." She got touched right after that. So be careful what you ask for, guys.
Yeah. Don't ask to be touched if you're not prepared to be touched. It is startling when they
You can touch me
actually
if you
do
want
it.
to, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I told her no right after she said that. I'm like, you don't want that. No.
Yeah. And then she was like, "Wait, did you just touch me?" It was so
For sure.
Guess what I forgot, guys? I
You
forgot
told
about
them they
you and Misty's experience in the school.
You think
We
they were going
have
to do pass up that opportunity?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We
God.
have to go there because that was insane for you guys. So
In multiple ways too.
yeah, it was.
Tim got a lot of experience out of that one. Honestly.
I did. Apparently, I've been a school teacher in a previous life, I guess. Being in the school, though, we kept seeing a shadow on the window, and Misty saw it first and got my attention to it, and we kept watching it, and I decided to debunk it because it's going on for quite a while.
Yeah.
We figured out it was a light and a tree limb actually blowing in there, so we was able to debunk that part. But what we wasn't able to debunk was I could hear voices outside. Now Brenda and Tanya are sitting over at the general store, and I thought, well, I'm hearing them talk. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing their voices carry where I'm at. So I didn't pay much attention to it, and I kept hearing it, and I kept telling Misty, I keep hearing someone talking outside. So if we go back to earlier, we heard someone outside the church talking.
Hmm.
Brenda and Tanya kept hearing someone talking when Misty and I were in the cabin. So where's all this talking coming from on this property that no one is speaking? They were talking in normal tones. It was not carrying over to where we were, which is an interesting thing. Which these buildings, I can see where a voice would echo off the building. You could get that. But the weirdest thing was, I was sitting there in a window beside me. I swear I saw a shadow of a head about halfway up in the first pane and just disappeared beside me, right next to where I was at. I mean, literally, like, just imagine your head coming to you and going down like that in the window outside at the same time I heard it talking. We went outside, tried to debunk it. We tried doing all kinds of things to figure out what the heck's going on in this school, because it's a school, right? Well, we started asking questions. Misty and I did about, is there someone in the school? Is there someone here to bother you? Whatever. And Misty got the feeling that all these kids were surrounding me and they were pointing up toward the teacher's desk, that this is what was bothering them. And I'm like, okay, if that's what's happening, that's awesome. So Misty went out and said, do you mind being here alone? I said, nope. So she went outside for about 5 minutes, went out the door. Now, if you pull this door behind you, it'll lock, and you're locked out. You can't get back in. She pulled the door, and she goes, I'm going to pull this door so it don't lock. She told me so. Well, I sat there for a little bit in the church, in the school, trying to figure out what was going on. Pretty soon I hear banging on the door. They can't get back in because the door is locked. And now they're locked out of the school, and I'm in it. But I heard her tell me I'm going to pull this door shut so that it doesn't lock. And she didn't. So the kids like me, they locked me in the school with them.
Yeah.
Whatever reason might be. I had to go unlock the door to let them in, to let them back in the building. We had a heck of a time trying to get it, because unfortunately the guy that had the key to get in was me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had the key. The door was locked. So I got locked in the schoolhouse.
If the door is shut, you cannot open it from the inside.
Correct.
So we started freaking out because we saw Misty sitting outside, and Tanya and I went over to talk to her, and she's like, well, we're pretty sure we heard you guys talking and somebody coughing. And I'm like, we didn't cough. Like, we haven't hardly, like, we've been talking really low. I was actually about 10 feet away from Misty, and I said, can you hear me? And she's like, what? And I go, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, wait, what are you saying? And I had to walk up to her to tell her what I was saying. And I said, that's how loud we've been talking over there at the general store. Like, not even loud enough for it to carry. And we went to go back, and she went to go back inside. And yeah, that door somehow closed. And we were locked out, and he was locked in, and yeah.
I finally had to go to the teacher's desk and get a pair of scissors or something to stick in the door to finally pry it open to get it out, because that's how we were told we had to open the door. So we were told don't lock in, because so I got locked into school. Yeah, so if you go there, be expected to be locked in.
Yeah, we were starting to freak out just a little bit because we couldn't get the door open to let him out. Yeah. That was.
But I didn't feel threatened
open
in
it because
school.
there wasn't a doorknob on the inside.
There was not.
Right.
Correct.
So I didn't feel threatened in the school, nor did I feel anxious. I just couldn't get the door open. So I remember the lady that did the tour said, go find something on the teacher's desk, find a screwdriver or something, or a piece of tool, and open the door. And that's what I did. So anyway, that's a new one for me. I got locked in a schoolhouse. That's never happened before.
They really liked you, though. I mean, they really liked you. They were all around you the whole time. So it just, they liked you in the school. They didn't like you so much at the church.
Oh.
But you're a demonologist, and like I said before, that's probably why they left you alone.
So what's in the school? So what entity is standing at the desk in the school? That's one thing. You ever go there, let's try to see if we can answer it. So.
Yeah. Supposedly it's something that's not nice, but like when Tanya and I were in there, we
Oh.
didn't feel we didn't feel anxious or anything like that. We didn't have that vibe. It was still pretty calm. So, the
Hopefully. I've been locked in the school. Take it off my bucket list.
yeah, he's been locked in. Oh, and Misty's been in 2 different churches and didn't blow up.
3.
Well, 3 at least.
3 now.
4.
Well,
4.
4?
three.
Yeah.
Now
We went to the other
now,
one and I didn't bring up that one either.
it's just
Mark
a
stole the
running.
mark.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Ew.
cool. Yeah, it's
Sorry.
just a running joke with her. It really has nothing to do with her. We were just like, oh, she went to church and didn't catch on fire. Yay! And it just kind of stuck. So, yeah.
And the church is still standing.
And the
Yeah.
church-
That's true.
yes, yeah. So
And
if
the-
you guys go
And
ahead.
the bell's still in the clapper. So
And the bell still don't have its donor. Yep. So if you guys have had any experiences similar to that, throw it in the comments. Let us know because that was crazy. We are going to get ready to go back over to the Civil War house. This is where it gets very crazy, and this was like the last thing we did of the night, and this was.
yeah,
Yeah,
Fun.
we were
a lot of
upstairs.
fun.
We were upstairs and we
tested.
were downstairs. So we'll
It was
talk
interesting.
about being upstairs. Yeah, we'll talk about
Well,
first.
before that, let's talk about the most interesting thing that happened when we got to Civil War House. Tanya decided to take a walk over there from the Billie Creek Village. She come down the road talking to herself, and we were all like, okay, why is she talking to herself? Well, it's an interesting story. Would you like to evaluate on that there, Tanya, why you were talking to yourself?
It was a toad. He was in the middle of the road and I didn't want him to get hit by a car, so I picked him up and carried him all the way back and talked to him. Told him there were a lot of juicy bugs back there that he could have, and I talked to him the whole way there, and then I put him down.
Yeah. Well, we
It
didn't
was a
know
toad.
that.
I was talking
We didn't know that. She just come walking down the driveway talking, and we're like, oh my God, what the hell? We almost took off running down there like, oh, what's going on down here?
If you guys have been to Billie Creek,
It was
you know
in-
how far the house sits off the road, and we could hear. We're like up by the back porch, and we could hear her on the road, just chatting away.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
I'm like, and she wanted to walk over there because she said she needed to clear her head. That's fine, that's cool. But then all of a sudden I hear her and she's talking to herself, and I'm like, guys, she's talking to herself, and we could just hear it. And then like all the way up the little drive, she's just still talking, and she's like,
Yeah,
I got a friend and it's a
yeah,
toad. We're
yeah.
like, holy crap,
It
girl.
It was a cool moment. It really was. We were just like, how is she talking to spirits? Because we're like, this is a ghost hunt. Oh,
It was
It helped lighten the moment for sure.
it's a nice break.
there.
I mean, I've never seen a toad with red on it before. It was just a really, really pretty toad.
Oh.
And Misty held it to and it peed on her, so that was even better.
Yeah.
So when you're out
Of course
ghost
he
But he
hunting,
did.
was happy.
yeah. So when you're out
Yeah.
ghost hunting, you never know what you'll run across. You never know.
True.
Oh yeah,
But-
we have another one to add to that when we're done.
Yeah.
We'll add to that story of things you can experience on a ghost hunt. Okay, so she makes it up to the house. We go back in. We head upstairs. Tanya is going to do an Estes session, so she's checking out the 2 rooms, seeing which one she wanted to do it in, and she actually sat in the door, right in front of the door of the doorway between the 2 bedrooms, and that's where she sat. And then I sat to her right, over by a cubbyhole door. Misty sat across the room from us by another cubbyhole door, and then Tim
And the
sat
bed.
Yeah.
Tim sat down towards the end. And yes, Tanya put on the red goggles because I don't know if you guys know about the Gansfield method. it was something that we're trying to work on. Our method of it is a little bit different um, because they're just red goggles. Um, but she had her eyes open during this, and I'll let her talk about what she experienced.
Mhm.
Okay. When I did have the red goggles on, see, they're very, very red. Everything is red. I focused not on anything. I just looked past everything, kind of like the illusion pictures and stuff. You look past it. And as the Estes was going on, Tim was sitting by the exorcism doll. Not sure what else to call the creepy thing. And as he's sitting there, I mean, I don't know how long I was in the Estes method, but I was watching as Tim is sitting on the floor or on the chair, black shadows come out and surround him, not touching him, just like surrounding him. I don't know how long I was in the Estes method, but if you get a chance to do the red goggles, you do need a little bit of backlight.
Mhm.
And the backlight that I had, the meters had enough lighting that I could see something. And having those black shadows completely surrounding Tim, I finally like, okay, I've had enough. Tim, are you being touched? Because that was just insane. That was a totally different level of being able to see something instead of complete darkness.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And you also said you saw something.
But being as dark as it was in the house, you do need some form of. Yeah, I saw all kinds of stuff around Tim, and none of them were very nice.
Mm.
But I saw a lot coming out of that doll area and then coming up the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish there was someone who have recorded it with the red,
Good.
because I don't think I could have seen it without.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I do suggest if you get a chance to do the red Estes method, try it. It's really different. It's
Mm.
you see a lot.
And sit by the creepy doll.
Yeah, and sit by the creepy
Yes.
doll. I don't know. I want to say she was probably in Estes for a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
That was a while.
Yeah.
It was a while.
It was easier to stay in the Estes method and not get creeped out when you can see something. Well, I mean, it's not pitch blackness. I mean, granted, I was getting a little creeped out with what I was seeing, but yeah, it was just insane.
Mm.
And while she was
But yeah, I
doing
just had to
that-
make sure Tim was okay, because it's like, did anything touch you? Are you all right?
Yeah. And while she was doing that, my dead bell would go off. Tim's dead bell would go off. The K2 meters would spike.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But so, and we would get activity almost like kids were running across the floor because it would
Yeah.
ding,
Correct.
it would light up and then ding, kind of like that. But anytime Tanya would mention the word soldier, everything would die. The K2 meters would die. Like we wouldn't get anything. We could hear footsteps coming up the steps
Mhm.
on the other side of Tim. What else did we catch, you guys?
There was some knocking and stuff kind of coming from the storage, those little
Mhm.
cubby holes and stuff. And I know even Tanya, she said she saw or something over sitting by the bed where I was that was just sitting there the whole time. And I felt so uncomfortable sitting by that bed. And it felt like it was like I hope it was a kid. I don't know what else it was. Yeah, whatever it was like tucked in there, just sit. Have you ever felt something just sitting there watching you, like just waiting for you to acknowledge it? That's what it felt like. And I was like, I ain't acknowledging you at all. Nope. I felt like it would be a really bad decision to
Blinders.
acknowledge it. Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
Tim?
So I'm going to rewind just a little bit, let everybody know. Tanya talked earlier about going up the stairs during the day. These stairs, when you go up the stairs, they go up, I don't know, 4 or 5 steps to a landing, then they turn and go up 8 or 9 steps to another landing. You're upstairs. When you get to that second part, the first landing, you start up that second set of stairs, you are like being pushed down, weight heavy, dizzy, disoriented.
Very
You get
dizzy.
up, you get upstairs, and you're just you have to stand against a wall to catch your composure because you are so disoriented and dizzy from this pressure when you hit the top of those stairs. So that's one of the things we were all feeling going up those stairs. I mean, it was, and Tanya and Misty got it stronger, but I mean, now we get to the top, lean against the wall because I had to stop to go, where am I? Right. So when you get to the top of the stairs, and we're talking from off the living room, that was a children's room. That's where the children of the house lived at the time. Now the room next to it where Misty was, or Tanya was in the doorway, that room had a back door going outside to the porch, back porch. And that doorway was designed for traveling reverends or preachers or uh, whatever traveled. They would stay in that room. So they came up the back stairs and stayed in that room. Then through a doorway was the children's room. So that's how this house was designed to be set up. So this is the most interesting story. There's kids upstairs and there's traveling preachers, whatever, are in the room next to them. So it's a little strange that the house is designed that way as
Yeah.
far as that goes. So we were in there doing the testing method with Tanya. That was actually we had our K2 meter, dead bells, as Brenda said. We had everything set up because we like to set out a lot of equipment to see if we get any activity. When we talked about children, the bell would ring, the K2 meters would go like a kid was running through the room, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth through the room. We heard the footsteps. We were asking about the lady of the house. We were hearing bangs downstairs. We'd hear footsteps on the stairs. I would ask them to come upstairs. As soon as I done that, my dead bell would go off at the top of the stairs. That activity was really, really active up there. And this was after the Estes method. This was just totally everything that was going on in this room we were at. We didn't investigate into the room where the preacher stayed. I kind of wish now
Mhm.
we'd maybe taken a trip in there and see if we got more activity or any more. But the knocking on the attic doors, that's crazy. Who's in the attic? So are their children still here? The lady of the house still there? The husband there? Are there Civil War soldiers there? Who's in this house that's creating all this activity? Well, when we decided to go downstairs in the kitchen, we started getting answers of why this activity was the way it was. And now we moved down to that. I think you're going to find it very interesting.
Real quick, Joe, thanks for joining us. We're being watched from Penhurst.
Correct. Cool.
So yeah, we go into the kitchen and I put my static camera in the corner. I'm holding my other one. I only use one camera. And I'm sitting, I wanted to be out of the way of the camera, so I moved my chair around. And Tim and I are sitting on one side, Misty's sitting on the end, and Tanya's sitting on the other side of the table. As we are sitting there, Tim has his dead bell over on the stove,
Mhm.
and it's donging. Like I turned mine on. I had mine on the table. I turned it on. I turned it right back off because I'm like, one bell is enough. We don't need two bells doing this craziness. Um, so we're sitting there and we're asking questions. And again, we get asked what our lights are, what our devices are, and that kind of thing. So we're going through and explaining, the red lights are so we can see in the dark and what the phones are and um, all of this stuff because this entity was very curious and wanted to know all of the stuff that we had and what we were using. Um, and of course, that was either on Spirit Talker or through Tanya because she was talking to Tanya. Um, is there, before we get into the nitty gritty where she actually starts talking to Tanya, is there anything else pre that I missed?
I think the most activity in the Civil War house was throughout the whole house. I don't think there was one isolated room that made a difference where you were as far as being in there. I not really. We were just getting a lot of activity in that house, no matter where we went, as far as that goes. So
Yeah, I mean, even when we first pulled up, when I first grabbed my stuff to walk in, the first thing I heard, it stopped me in my tracks. I heard something go from one end of the house to the other and back down, like it went up and down the stairs really, really fast. Like faster than anybody could. And I heard thump, 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 thump. I stopped. I stopped and I was like, nope. And I turned around, started walking away, and I said, no, I can't be a coward. Turned around and walked back up to it. But that's just like proof. You just go to the house and there's stuff going on everywhere.
yeah,
And it's unreal how much stuff is going on. So that little talk in the kitchen, that was very eye-opening on like what could possibly be going through the
correct.
thought process of us being there. Like if you were in that situation and you're not, you just see this stuff happening all the time and nobody explains it to you, would you understand it?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That whole house is crazy active. Yeah. Crazy. So anyway, we are sitting at the table and we start asking questions. And again, like we had answered what the lights were and our devices and all that stuff. And the entity that we talked to, she did end up telling us her name after a while. She was very upset. How do I want to say it? Like, she was very upset,
Frustrated.
There you go.
Yeah.
with things that happen at the house, and we are going to get into that. So we were asking Tanya, you know, like, what are you hearing? What are you hearing? And she's like, she's frustrated. And then Tanya starts to talk, and then she stops. She goes, it's too much. It's too much. I said, no, let her speak, because she needs to vent. She needs to get things out. So then Tanya went back in. Do you remember talking about?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Besides the fact that she was screaming, which I don't tolerate being screamed at from live people, let alone people that want to talk in my head. She was mad because the house is a mess. There's strangers in her house. There's fake plants hanging by her fireplace. There's electricity in her house, which her house does not have electricity. The pans or something on the stove wasn't right. There was just so much random stuff that wasn't her house. She didn't feel like it was her house anymore. And she was so frustrated because of the leaves on the floor, the furniture not being where it was, just so much stuff. And, you know, she was just, there was so much so fast that I could only catch bits and pieces of it. And it's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't get it out as fast as she was saying it, but I think you guys pretty well got the gist of. She was pretty upset because people took over her house and there's strangers in her house all the time, and she doesn't know any of them, and nobody has any respect for her. And, you know, she just wanted respect. And then once you guys heard her out, she was fine. She's like, well, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for understanding me. You know, and I do believe her name was Elizabeth. Is that what she had finally said her name was?
Katie or Catherine?
Catherine, yeah.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth was a lady on the headstone outside. So, okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Cat. No, she wanted you guys to call her Katie.
Katie.
Her name was
yeah.
Catherine. But since we were friends now, apparently we're friends with her now. You could call her Katie.
So
Yeah, she had to get off her chest and lot of frustration.
and to elaborate more on this, I turned my dead bell on, right? And it dings once. And I said, well, you know that you're just right by me if you dinged my bell. And Tanya goes, she just said, I'm dead, not blind. I was like, I am so sorry. I did not mean to offend you, lady. I am so sorry. Like, that was not my intentions. I was just like letting you know that you were super close to me, type of thing. But yeah, that was the thing. She just seemed like she just wanted to be heard. And so, we see the post out there and everything all the time. When you go out to investigate, do you actually try to get their stories? Do we actually go out to listen to what they have to say? Like that kind of thing. And so that was really cool. Tim, go ahead.
No, I was going to say was, so Tanya, do you think us getting the story from Catherine, or us getting that? I'm Southern Iowa. Sorry. Do you think getting the story from Catherine was a good thing for her? Do you think it will change how she looks at things, or do you think it'll go right back the way it was? To now she's going to have people back in the house. So, and doing things. Did she happen to mention anything that people were doing in the house that really upset her?
Disrespect was a lot of what her problem was. Things are going to go back to being the same because, as Brenda was saying, and you're buffering a lot, so I'm not catching everything, but I think I get the gist of what you were saying is when people go into a house, do they go in to actually get to know the person or to poke the bear?
Correct.
See what price they can get. See if they can get whatever evil. We actually go in to listen to find out, hey, what is your story? Not because we want to disrespect her house or anything like that. I think that we will be welcome with open arms, so to say, when we go back. But a lot of hers was the disrespect of people going in there and just not caring that it's her home. And that's a lot of what it is because that's, excuse the pun, she lives there. Her presence is there. That's her home. We come in, we said hello, we greet them, tell them who we are and everything else. A lot of people just go in, hey, what are we doing here? Can we make you mad? So I don't think it's going to change until other paranormal investigators respect what they're doing.
Okay.
So it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve.
Sure. And I think it was a good thing that we did ask her story because it's interesting. I think it's valuable to know what these spirits go through on a daily basis or how they react to us, and we're coming into their home, so to speak. One of the things I did notice, I remember the conversation was, she said there were soldiers there at her house, and they were deserters, and her husband let him in the house. And she was really angry about that happening. We're talking after I go back. We're talking after the Civil War, and these were Southern Confederate soldiers that deserted, and her husband let him in, and she was very angry about that, very, very angry. So that would be some history if anybody wants to try to look into it to see if they can figure out if there was anything that did happen during that time, or if they can find a name or people that were there. Because that would help continue the story that we have. If we ever go back there, that's one of the things I'd like to focus on was what did happen? What made her so angry with these soldiers, with her husband being there? And then the minister and priest in the house. The whole story is so fascinating that I think we just touched the edge of it, and we are not even close to knowing the whole thing. I think we got into it with the lady of the house, and we got more understanding of the person that's there, which was a big help. And maybe they won't stand over Misty next time with their hands on her hips telling her to be good.
Yeah.
So perhaps that won't happen because she'll remember who we are and how much we did respect her. So
Yeah.
in the paranormal world, doing those type of things, and I think trying to investigate that way is a really great way of getting evidence and getting to find what the paranormal is about. I think it was a really good experience, a good exercise, and I can't wait to go back again someday to see if it works and continue that with other places that we go and see if we can't get more of that interaction, because that's valuable. That's really valuable.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, she she seemed to be super appreciative of us, and she had also mentioned that we were the first team in like 20 years that even give her any time of the day.
Mhm.
That we were actually trying to get to know
Correct.
her and her story. I did ask her if when like when we heard her talking earlier, or when people hear a female talking, are you trying to, like let them know it's you? And
Mhm.
if I remember right, Tanya, she said no. She just gets so mad though that she just like practically yells, and then
Correct.
people end up hearing her. Um,
Correct. So
which
that was a good session to learn. I'm going to ask Misty. What did you feel when we were in the kitchen? What was your experience with the lady that was there?
Well, like she was pacing back and forth and pretty much just laying it all out. That's what it really like. I felt like a child getting kind of a tongue lashing is the best way to put it. Like she was like, I don't like the way this is done. I don't like the way that's done. It just felt like you were getting kind of the second degree being in that kitchen, honestly. So I
Okay.
just sat there and I was like, okay. Like I really didn't know what to think of the situation because I don't hear what she hears at all. I get the feeling of the room and I was just sitting there like, I'm not going to say a word because that's how I feel right now. Usually I'll say something if the moment's right, but I was like, I'm keeping my mouth shut because I'm not interrupting this lady while she's doing this right now. She
Okay.
needs to get it
Cool.
out, you know?
Oh, yeah. I kind of thought so. Brenda, what did you feel in there?
um, I well, when she put me in my place after that, I was like, this woman means business, and nobody is gonna say anything any different. And I really didn't mean to offend her. I was just letting her know that it was by me. And um, I think at that point, I just when Tanya opened up about what she was doing, I just wanted to learn more. Like I wasn't feeling uneasy or anything like that. Like I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask like 1,000 more questions
Mhm.
to
Well,
just to get to know her more.
Correct.
That was
um,
my
and after thinking about that, I think um, most of the disrespect she's talking about is from the deserters and her husband.
Gotcha.
Yes, she was not
Because
happy with him. She called him a
her,
coward.
Yeah. Correct.
no, what did she call him? What was that term?
Oh,
Oh, what did she call him?
she
I
called
don't
the
know, but I'm
soldier
like, I don't.
she called the
I think
soldier brazen bull,
yeah, Brazen Bull.
and
Yeah.
then she said her husband was like yellow belly or something.
Yeah. Yellow
Yeah,
belly.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm
That
like,
would have been
okay,
a
I
common
know she
word.
put out terminology that I'm like, what?
Because
Yeah.
we
What?
were trying to figure out what she meant, and she was talking about the soldiers being like
Mhm.
forcing themselves onto their farm,
Correct.
and her husband succeeded. You know, I'm not saying the right word, but him like pretty much being okay with it and bound down to everything
Correct.
they're doing and being okay with, oh, you want our food, take our food, just don't hurt us kind of deal. And she felt like you're kind of a prick.
Yep.
That's what it
Yeah.
literally felt like.
Correct.
Yeah, but her
So there,
terminology, I'm just kind of
yeah.
like, what?
A
Yeah.
lot better.
Correct. So there we go. If you go there, ask the lady about the soldiers that deserted, and ask her about her husband, because I think you'll get a lot more information than you will trying to make her speak with you. Lesson
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's where a lot of the disrespect came in, and then strangers
right.
coming into her house and everything else. I think everything just
Mhm.
piled up like it does with those people, and she just went.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're truly a researcher and you're trying to get, stories about the paranormal, who they are and why they're there, um, if you take anything that we said tonight, remember her name is Catherine. She will put you in her place about that.
Mhm.
Only a select few get to call her Katie.
Mhm.
Us.
Well, even if we went back, I think I would still reference Catherine because that's her
Until she
name.
says Katie. Yes.
Yeah.
If you guys really want to truly know, like, my suggestion is to go out there and just sit and try to talk to her, not
Right.
poke the bear, not because she will interact, and you will get evidence, and you will be able to do that stuff. Like we got to think about that
Yeah.
because I mean, like anybody coming to our houses and they start poking the bear, like they start
Mhm.
dogging on you and like trying to get you to do this, and like you get mad. So
Mhm.
it's the same for them.
Yeah. And hopefully she's not carrying a switch or a metal edge ruler. Take that in mind.
I think it was more of a cast iron skillet.
Probably.
It very well be.
I mean, she wasn't a big woman from what I saw with the shadow that was back and forth, back and forth.
Gotcha.
Man, she's mighty.
So
Gotcha.
so with that being said, like we didn't have any like super scary experiences um
Mm.
out at Billy Creek, but it was a fascinating investigation, and
Yeah.
you know what we caught and the experiences we had. You guys might be thinking, well, whatever, but I mean, that was a lot for us,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and it was very active, especially to get her story and why she was upset. Oh, Misty actually heard footsteps to her left, immediate left, and Tanya goes,
Mhm.
"Oh, she didn't mean to scare you."
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Her boots scuffled or whatever. Um, but yeah, so like I don't think anywhere you go out there. Um, we even had interactions in the general store. That was crazy.
Right.
Tim had went outside, and I was hanging my purse up on the stairs that go up above to the beds, and just as I hung my purse up, the front door closed. I heard it shut, and I looked, and there's like nobody there. And the next morning, Tanya heard some things going. They're like, the workers will be in at 8:30. Okay, we heard the workers, but this was before the workers came in because I didn't hear it.
6:30.
And
Yeah.
what did you hear?
6:30. I go down the drunk stairs to go to the bathroom, and I hear something run past me, and I'm like,
Mhm.
stop and I look. Lucy's asleep in the chair. Y'all were still
Yeah.
asleep upstairs, and I'm like, y'all had your chance. Go to bed. And I
Right.
went to the bathroom, went back upstairs. It's like,
Yeah, so
should have caught us last
um,
night.
Yeah.
we call them the drunk stairs because they literally are like this, and they are the craziest stairs ever. And we figured you
Yeah.
have to be drunk to climb
Yeah.
the stairs because
Yeah.
you don't
They're
make
not-
any more
yeah.
trips up those stairs than you absolutely have to.
And they're not even steps. They're odd. Yeah.
One's
I
this
thought they
way,
were rock.
one's this way. They go this way or this way.
Correct.
One's narrow.
Part of ghost hunting.
Yeah, part of ghost hunting.
But
So
it was not a Sam and Dean.
it was any last things that we forgot to discuss on this podcast about Billy Creek?
Well, are you going to bring up the last thing?
Oh yeah, Tim's our storyteller though. Go for it, Tim.
So I'm standing up by my truck, and Tanya and Brenda are down by this pen, and they hear this noise, and they ask me to go down and check it out. I go down there, and I'm hearing this growling, up and down, noise growling. And they said, do you hear it? And I said, well, you mean the goat snoring? Out there, does anybody know if goats snore? Please, if you do, get back with me. I should have recorded it so I could actually got proof
So,
that goats do snore.
so
Yeah.
to back up just a little bit, yes, Tanya and I were down there, and all of a sudden we just hear those god awful noise. And my first instinct, I asked Tanya, I said, do goats snore? And she goes, no, they don't snore. And then I'm like, okay, so then what is that? So then I'm like, Tim, you need to go check this out. Know what this is. And like he's down there for a hot little minute. And then he comes back and he goes, it's the goat snoring. And I'm like, I thought you said they don't snore. And she goes, I didn't think they did. But this is at like 4 a.m., y'all.
Yeah.
You hear something that sounds like a growl
And
at
it was
4 a.m. You have no idea what it is. We weren't scared, but we were just like, what is that?
Correct.
What is
Now-
that noise?
Now, take in mind, if you walk past this building at 4 a.m. and you're not ready for that, yeah, it's going to startle you, and you're going to try to
Yeah.
figure out what it is because
That goat,
yeah,
that goat was in some deep sleep now, y'all. And I mean deep sleep because he was in the middle of that.
Yeah.
storm.
yeah, because I had to stand there for a minute and
was
go,
the
what the hell is
baby.
that?
I don't
Yeah.
think it was the baby. I think it was the
Ah.
big one. I think it was
Yeah.
the big male.
There was a snoring.
But yeah, that was.
So it shows that we're human, toads,
Yeah, I
goats
think it was the
snoring.
baby goat.
We're just like everybody else. We're just normal people. And when we go ghost hunting, we try to have as much fun as we possibly can. Be it a toad, be it a snoring goat. Just take it all
Or
in
be it a
because
jump scare from a
it
skink
makes
running.
us who we are. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Sunday night we have Beyond Life Paranormal Research Missouri. Russell's going to be on the show. Wednesday night, Wicked Ghost Hunters is going to be on the show. You guys tune in for both of those. Next Saturday, the 23rd, we are at the Haunted Commercial Hotel doing an investigation. So the following week, on the 30th of May, we will do our Indiana State reveal. So
Yeah.
that's another interesting one. You guys will want to make sure that you tune back in for that one as well. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us on this Billie Creek edition.
Yeah.
Watch the video
And,
on YouTube.
and remember, if you want to go ghost hunting with us, get in the truck.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time, guys.
Next time.